Hey guys, Dan Malone here from MassLive.com alongside Andrew Cyr as always for the Massachusetts Daily Collegian. We are here in Springfield at the Mass Mutual Center where UMass just lost a 74-64 game to Ole Miss. You'll have to apologize for my voice, and if I cough, I'm a little under the weather. Cyr, I'm sorry, we're so close to each other right now.
I'm just getting over it.
I'll try not to breathe on you too much. But you're just getting over that, and I think this is a game that UMass is going to want to get over pretty quick.
Yep.
This is a game I think they could have won. They were down maybe 5 points with under 4 minutes to play. They just could not get anything going offensively basically the entire game, other than a couple early three-pointers from Dante Clark and a little Seth Berger run at the end of the first half. And on the other side, you have a guy in Stephon Moody who drops 30. And a night when both teams kind of needed in the second half their guys to step up. Ole Miss got it. UMass didn't. Ole Miss gets the win.
They did, and going back to the second half struggles, Ole Miss, they started off in man-to-man. That's when Dante was making some shots. Then they switched to that 1-3-1 zone.
Changed everything.
They changed it up. They extended the pressure to half court, maybe a little beyond it. Just kind of get UMass out of their rhythm. UMass had a couple plays where when they were working the ball around the perimeter, they found some guys inside. But those passing windows to the bigs inside, Kellogg said he thought Holloway was open all game long. Just the windows weren't there to pass it.
And they couldn't see him even when the windows were
exactly
there. It was a very aggressive zone. They were hands in the face, moving around, good feet, and it got Jabari Hines especially off his game to the point where he doesn't make a basket. And he comes in averaging 19.7 or whatever it is. He finishes with 1 point on a free throw, kind of a meaningless free throw in the final 2 minutes of this game.
He did, and UMass is one of their biggest problems last year was that half-court offense. When teams really start to slow it down, this team has had a track history of struggling in that half-court offense, and I think you saw it here, perfect example today. In the first half when it was up and down, they were scoring, they were making baskets, but I think that UMass, just the way they're played, the way Kellogg coaches, their style of play, they're an up-and-down team. They feed off of fast breaks, some dunks, some transitions, some alley-oops, which we haven't seen this year, and just once everything wasn't falling, they really struggled to get in that rhythm. Jabari didn't play for a lot in the second half. It seemed like there were stretches where he was on the bench.
Trey Davis shoots 4 of 18.
Yep.
It's another night where Derek Kellogg says, what happens when the guards aren't scoring and the three-pointers aren't falling? Obviously, Dante Clark scores 24 points, does his thing. He had a really long stretch where I don't think he scored from the 15:45 mark of the first to the 15:10 mark of the second. But even so, I mean, to only get 9 points out of Trey Davis and Jabari Hines, who either one of them could score 9 points in a minute if they make, if they hit a couple threes. That's just something that this team is still trying to work out. How do they get those points? How do they manufacture those points? And when they're going up against a zone where they admitted they didn't have enough time in practice to kind of go over that the way they wanted, it just kind of gums everything up, and you get a game that they probably could have won, maybe should have won, and they let it slip away.
It was, and I think that they're going to look to this game. This is going to be a good reference point. When those guards aren't playing, what can this team do? You saw Seth Berger step up. He had a pretty good game. I thought him and Dante were probably the two best players for UMass today. Holloway had some nice moves inside, had some good finishes around the rim. But like you said, when Hines and when Trey Davis aren't clicking, this team is a really completely night and day difference from when they're on. You saw against BU, when they're getting up and down the floor, when they're making shots. Even in the beginning of this game, it seemed like just the flow of things were different. But once Ole Miss slowed down the tempo and turned it into a half-court game, that's when UMass really started to struggle. And I think that moving forward, I think that Kellogg's going to have a lot of time dedicated to working on half-court offenses against zones.
It's going to be a reference point for other teams, too. Yeah. They're going to look at this tape and say, okay, that's how we can get Jabari Hines, who arguably has been an all-Atlantic 10 player to this point. So that's how we can kind of get him off his game. That's how we can get Trey Davis to put up some pretty ugly shots. It doesn't help when they miss double-digit layups.
Yep.
When they shoot 30% from the free throw line. That's a lot of points in a close game until the final minutes here. That could have made a world of difference, and they're just kind of giving those away.
It was, and I think that just overall, I think that this wasn't UMass's day. I think Seth said it perfectly. Jabari is the least of our concerns. He's going to find a way to turn it around. It's got to be the other guys. What are they going to do? So I think that you have to start finding some other options for UMass. I think you're going to have to start developing that third, that fourth, and even that fifth option, especially as the season gets tougher into conference play.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough week for them now. They hit the road for 2 games in Florida. They're not going to be, by the time they get back to the Malone Center, it's going to be, a couple weeks before they've really played in front of a nice home crowd. They've got to grind out some wins here. This is a stretch last year where they were 5-1. They lost 3 in a row, lost 6 of 8, and their season kind of fell apart a little bit until they picked it up midway through league play. And I don't know how this team's going to respond to that. So they kind of have to grind out some wins. They gave one away today. And we'll see how they respond going down to Florida for a couple weeks, a couple games next week.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. We won't be down there for the games in Florida. We're not making those trips, so it'll be a while before you hear from us in video form again. But Cyr, thank you very much, and I apologize again if you come down with a nasty cough.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Thanks.